The rumour has teeth now. Marc Bernal, long billed as one of La Masia's brightest defensive midfield prospects, appears set for a controlled, meaningful return to Barcelona's matchday squad after a year out with an ACL injury. For a club that has spent seasons trying to rebuild balance in midfield, the prospect of Bernal being medically cleared, possibly in time for Barcelona's first home fixture after the international break, reads like the opening line of a new chapter. This is not just about a single player walking back onto the park. It is about the subtle seismic pressure relief that a true holding midfielder can bring to a side that has leaned so heavily on the creative and transitional gifts of Pedri and Frenkie de Jong. Those two have stitched together a formidable double pivot, but football is a game of margins and depth. If Bernal is fit and ready, Hansi Flick suddenly gains an internal option who could let Pedri breathe higher, allow de Jong to step into more progressive roles, and give the defence an extra layer of protection when the opposition comes with numbers. Bernal's rise through the academy made him a favourite among coaches and talent spotters. A composed defensive midfielder who reads the game, times interceptions, and can recycle possession without panic. An ACL at a critical developmental moment could have derailed that trajectory, but the conversations around the club suggest the recovery has been methodical and optimistic. That optimism is tempered by caution, and it's what makes Flick's potential decisions so compelling. Flick has been explicit about wanting Bernal fit for the long haul, not rushed for short-term applause. The club has reportedly worked with medical staff to ensure that when Bernal returns, his minutes will be managed and his reintegration gradual, much as the staff managed Gavi's post-injury comeback last season. That approach underscores a broader philosophy. Talent reintroduced carefully can multiply value. Talent rushback risks everything. Tactically, Bernal's profile offers multiple permutations for Flick. On matches when Barcelona wants solidity, Bernal could anchor and allow the full-backs to push farther without exposing the centre. In high-intensity clashes where possession is contested, his presence could shorten the opposition's transition time, provide safer outlet options under pressure. For squad rotation across a congested calendar, a fit Bernal is pure gold. He adds resilience without demanding the ball to be played differently, instead stabilising what already worked. Opponents who have been studying Pedri and de Jong, as the spine will now have to account for an additional younger specialist who can change the rhythm and mechanics of Barca's midfield press. There are, of course, risks. Returning from an ACL injury is a process, and the club's medical and coaching teams are acutely aware of the balance between competitive hunger and structural healing. Gradual minutes, monitored load, and a conservative ramp-up will likely define Bernal's first weeks back. The potential setting for his long-awaited return, the Spotify Camp Nou in mid-September, when Barcelona hope to host Valencia, adds an emotional layer. A homecoming on that scale, even in measured time, would be electric for fans who cherish La Masia's pipeline. It would also send a signal across La Liga and Europe that Barca's youth machine remains a vital part of their identity. From a narrative perspective, Bernal's story ticks all the boxes. A promising academy star, an injury that tested resolve, careful rehabilitation, managerial patience, and finally the whisper of clearance that could turn into applause. For Flick, the decision to bring Bernal back isn't merely about plugging a gap. It's a statement of long-term planning, depth management, and trust in the club's development system. For Pedri and de Jong, his return could mean renewed competition, but also renewed possibilities as roles evolve and minutes are redistributed smartly to keep the team dangerous on multiple fronts. What will define the coming weeks is not one dramatic debut, but the way Bernal is woven back into the fabric of the team. Fans should watch for substitution patterns, the minutes allocated in less risky fixtures, and how Flick chooses to use Bernal tactically as a shield, a pivot, or a rotational stabiliser. If handled correctly, this could be the relief valve Barcelona needs and the catalyst for a midfield that can sustain both creative audacity and defensive responsibility through a long season. If it goes wrong, the club will have to step back and reassess a recovery that demanded patience in the first place. Either way, the return of Marc Bernal promises to be one of the defining subplot stories of Barca's season, a test of medical prudence, managerial foresight, and the enduring faith in La Masia's ability to replenish the first team.